Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to our weekend Q&A. And what I will do, I don't have anything in particular planned. I do have a few things that I'll go over if there are no questions that I can answer. Um, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the chat box here and the Q&A box so I can see both of those. And as I said, if there are no questions in particular, I'll just go through a few things. My goal is always to get you out of here in 30 minutes and to answer any questions that you might have about, strategizing for uh your PLR, your online business. So um thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. So let's go ahead. What I'll do is I'm just going to start talking about a few things, and if you have questions in particular, I will stop what I'm doing in order to answer them. Let me kind of pull this so that I can put the questions in front of me, so that I can see them, and then we'll go from there. And I started talking last week, and when we released our school PLR, it kind of got me thinking about community. And one thing that I do really believe is that whether or not all of our efforts are going to you know end up bringing this about right now, I do think that people are ready for a genuine community and genuine connection. And so um, we've been through a couple of evolutions, in the online marketing space. We went from everything being on the Warrior Forum and a lot of people having their conversations there and really people getting a lot of help there to going over to Facebook where it was a lot more distributed. And so, you had different people who had different places where they were able to, I say, have discussion and really try to help people. But I think I said this in the past, and I think this is true. What happened was that, product creators and people who ran membership sites, they would open up a Facebook group when they had a specific product. And then if they had a second product, they would open up the same Facebook group because it's insane and it's impossible to operate two or three of those things for every product you create. And so the community got distributed. So you could have bought four different products from four different people, and you could have been three or four different Facebook groups, all of them different, and having different discussions there. And I think that that was helpful for a while, when people were coming over from the Warrior Forum, and because the Warrior Forum just kind of died out. What is we where we are right now is that people are finding, I think, it difficult to get help in one specific place. And so some of the and how the discussions there go. Those discussions really go, they can go sideways really quick. And so sometimes I think what happens is, well, people just kind of give up on having online discussions. But I think that, and I've seen evidence in the school platform. I've seen evidence with people who are starting communities in Circle that people are ready to not just have them in Facebook, but they're ready to have them in places where they want to have them with specific people about specific things, and they will engage around those specific things. And so it could be a way for you to be to really kind of build out, your learning center or your membership, where what you're really doing is you're wrapping around the content that you're giving people, and you're doing it with community. And you're doing that by allowing people to discuss what they're doing with what it is that you're selling or your ideas, if they're using your ideas or your software. Um, I recently saw, I think it was 3 days ago, that Optimized Press is moving its community now from Facebook to its own private community. And I know they're doing a lot of that because they're getting ready to sell their own platform. And I think it's smart, right? If you're going to have a platform, you want to use your platform to have that discussion. But they're moving away from Facebook, right? And they're developing their own community, and there are lots of these platforms available. So I have been saying to Ultimate Insiders, and I've been saying it to anybody who will listen, that I think the time is now to start building community. And so if you are selling a product or you are promoting, let's say you're doing YouTube videos or you've got a podcast, I think that the time to start inviting the people who are engaging with your ideas, engaging with your content, engaging with your products, engaging with you, invite them into community and invite them to a place where they can have discussions with each other and they can have discussions with you. Now, I wanted to say this at the outset. I don't know if there's a course you can take on building community. Now, I know there are a lot of them out there. I know that marketers are doing it because people are starting to talk about community. I don't know that, outside the make money online space. Now, in the make money online space, I think, they're like these procedures and they're like these funnels, start with it, start inviting people into free place, and then, starting to upsell them to other stuff. I mean, all that probably works, but it probably only works inside of our market where, you really want to, people are indifferent to how they make money online. And so um, they'll get in a group that is broad, right, in order to catch some idea of what it is they can do, right? And so those communities work. They tend to work though with people who are big personalities. They've had, um, a lot of, a lot of visible monetary success. And so people gravitate to those platforms because they've already got the social proof available. Now, if you're trying to build that social proof and you're not there yet, so you're going to have to build it another way. And so you may not be able to build in the very same way, that the make money online space actually does. And to replicate that without understanding those other routes that are happening, you just kind of got to be aware that if you're gonna take a model where whether it's Alex Hermosi or somebody else and they say, well, just do it this way, I did it, and you're gonna, I had 600,000 members, and you just got to understand that social proof works that way in the make money online space. And if you're going to replicate that model and it doesn't happen right away, you can't walk away from it because it doesn't look like theirs. It's not going to look like theirs unless you have that level of social proof. And what really comes first in the make money online space, if you're going to open up a community for other people to make money online and you want to be the authority and sell things to the people in that community, the social proof comes first. So you'd be better off getting the social proof first and then starting the community. So again, the make money online space is always different, right? The rules are always different. So the same rules do not apply inside the make money online space if you're going to build community in that way. Let me see if let me see if there's any, I don't know if I've got the question here. Okay, no questions there yet. Okay. So what I will say is that platform is important. It's not everything. So, there are lots of communities available. There are a lot of them where you can build community. And so I wouldn't get caught up on what the community is, right? I think that if you've got something, start using it. Invite people to community and invite people to talk to you. And so our Ultimate Insiders, I give them access to a Go High Level sub account. There's a community platform there. And so you can start inviting people to that community. You can start inviting people to a place where they can have discussions around your ideas, around your way of doing things. So whatever you've got right now, right? I'm going to say, you don't have to go buy anything else if you already have something. So if you have something, start using it and then start inviting people to your community. And so there's school, there is let's see, let me just make sure that I think Laurel is here. And I'm going to make her a co-host. Okay. Yeah, I think Laurel is a co-host now. Okay, so there's Circle that's available, and then there's System.io. And so if you've got something, just start inviting people to it. And I'm not saying that you want to be disjointed or unorganized, but the time to start building community is now, because again, the discussions are just now starting, and I think people are now ready to start leaving some of the larger spaces in order to have these more focused areas where they can actually learn something, or where they can actually discuss something without fear of um, kind of being looked down on, right? So just really starting to bring people into your own space. And when you start a community, I think I said this in the last thing that I did, and that is, um, you have to start by taking the lead, and you obviously have to start, with monetization in mind. And that aside, before you start taking a class on engagement, right, and how you're going to engage this community, use your brain, right? Try something. Try something that you think with a group of people that you have. Please do not be quick to go and try to find a course, or to go to Chat GPT, or to do any of those things. You want to start thinking about the people that are joining your group, why they joined, why you're setting up the group, and then think about what it is that you can do. Don't go to anything, right? Don't go to the search engines on how to do anything. Don't do any of that stuff. Think about what it is those people want. What can you do to help them to start discussion? What can you do to help them to start taking, their own advice? And so the idea around any community and everything that you're doing and I doing in information marketing is, we're trying to lead people to life change. That's it. And it doesn't matter what you're selling. Information products are designed to lead people to life change. You're trying to take someone from point A in some area to point B. If you can get someone to take a step from point A to point B, that person will always remember you as the person who did that for them, however you do it. And so, put aside all of the, everything on how to run a community on and how to run a membership site. You're selling information, you're providing value, and the value you provide, however you provide it, is you lead people to life change. If you can do that by providing community, okay, you won't have to worry about your membership payment, right? That's not what you got to worry. You won't have to worry about that, because that's the value you're providing. So again, use your brain before you start looking for engagement strategies, before you start looking at trying to copy someone. What are you bringing those people to your community for, and then start doing and executing those things. Run a challenge, right? Whatever that is. If your group is really about, I don't know, a product launch challenge, or you're about launching products on a particular platform, run a challenge. You organize a challenge, you set it up, you set up the education, you set up what the person's going to get, you set up the lesson so that it runs like a challenge, so that people will take those steps. Again, your job is to lead people to life change. That is what you and I are about. That's what the information marketing business is. It doesn't matter what you sell. You are excuse me, your job, you were attempting to lead people to life change. Um, if you got a community, you can provide them resources, right? That's obvious. I mean, that's something that you should be doing. And as a user of PLR, you should be able to do that easily, right? You want to give people those resources and help them and educate them, right? If they've come into your community, and especially if they're paying you to be part of that community, well, then give them the resources in order for them to improve. Um, when you start talking about, using, video content, PLR inside of a membership site, one of the things I tell you is that don't redo the content. It doesn't have to be redone in your voice. Your job is to really organize it and get people in so they can benefit from it. And so you want to make sure that whether you have a searchable database or that it's organized, your job is really to market the life change, to market your community, and then make it so that people can really do what they've got to do to change. And so, if you got to bring in experts, right? You don't have to be the expert at everything. You're taking the lead when you bring in the people to help people to do maybe the things you don't know a whole lot about, right? But you can start building community today. It does not take, it doesn't take a big, a big platform. Now, again, once again, I said at the beginning, the make money online space is different, right? Because your whole goal in make money online space, when you're building a community, is to make more money. And so that's a whole nother bag of worms. And I'm not necessarily talking about that when I'm telling you this, because a lot of people who are our ultimate insiders, they're not necessarily hyper focused on the make money online space, right? So this is entirely different. Okay, so one thing that I really that does not get enough, I'd say, credit and enough attention is being a gatekeeper. And that's one thing that anybody can start a community and start doing immediately. If you start a community and people are going to come to your community, you need to be a gatekeeper. What do I mean by that? You are not going to allow anything to pollute the ideas of the group. So, especially in the make money online space, right? I know that I'm not sure if she's here, but I know Suzanne does a review channel. It's the same kind of thing. You are going to keep people out of danger. So, in your group, if somebody's about to buy something that is no good for them, you are going to be the person that's going to be to say, well, you know what, this is not good for you. This is not good for people. You may have to go and buy something on behalf of your community so that you can show them, well, this is not worth your time. And so that you need to be, as a leader, the, the person who's willing to say, no matter what your affiliate commission is on it, this is not worth your time. Not only are you not going to promote it, you're going to tell people that they're not going to buy it. Now, with that comes a lot of scrutiny. With that's going to come from product creators. They're not going to necessarily like it. But for every person that doesn't like what you're doing, if you're really gatekeeping, right? If you're really doing this on behalf of your community, you're bringing these people together, your job is to protect them. And no, I'm not saying that you're their mother or they're your father, but being a gatekeeper, keeping pollution out of the people who are becoming part of your community, keeping them safe from the kind of things that could really do them damage. And I'm not just talking about make money online products and memberships. Whatever, if you're, let's say that you run a keto membership, and there's some new keto guru, and they've got a new way of doing it, and you've looked at it, you've looked at the science, you've looked at the results, you've read it, and you know that if the people who are in your group, your keto group, if they start doing this, it's going to do damage. You need to say that to the group. And that's the same kind of feel when you start a community. You could probably miss it on all these other things. In other words, you may not, you may go and get all the engagement strategies and do them. You may never run a challenge, right? So let's say you flub that one. You may not be providing them all the resources that they need. You may not bring in an expert, but if all you did was to keep people safe from the junk in your niche, I've seen memberships exist just on this one thing. Just on this one thing. So if you become that person in your particular market and niche, you're going to be a gatekeeper, right? So again, yes, you're going to let people talk. You're going to let people have discussion. Maybe they already bought this thing, right? And you're going to have to be willing to engage. Now, again, with a community, you've got to be willing to lead it. And so that means that if you've got some ideas and people insist that, oh no, this is a great thing, I did it. Well, you might have to tell them, well, in this group, that's not what we're about, right? So it's not just conversation about anything and everything and anything goes. You've got to take the lead, and probably the most unsung aspect of doing online community is being a gatekeeper. Yes, you're going to show them instructionally how to do it. Yes, you're going to help them move them point A to point B. But part of getting them from point A to point B is keeping them from taking steps that are going to do damage to them. So again, let me go back. So from the beginning, whatever platform you have, start with it. Right? You got a subscription to System.io, you're an Ultimate Insider, start your community. Not everything is going to work right? And so I know Go High Level, they've got their own issues, and some of them, I mean, but you start the community and you work around those things. And everybody that comes in, they're not going to know the rules. You're not going to spell out all the rules correctly. You start. So whatever you got, right? You got a trial to school. You got something to circle. Start the community. Start one. Now, and now I know that the tendency is to go straight to Facebook because it's free. It's not free. And part of the benefit of not of pulling people off of Facebook, number one, not only is it better for your business, but number two, you're really helping people who would tend toward distraction, right? And so again, I started all this by saying, I think that people are now ready, right? Not everybody, right? Not everybody's not ready for this. Uh, everybody, some people are going to stay on Facebook because it's easy, it's on their phone, it's what they're used to, it's habit, and that's where everybody is. And again, I get that. So not everybody's going to come. Uh, there's a line, I think I mentioned it in the last DFY that I did from the Matrix. What is it? Morpheus says to Neo from the very first one, not the Matrix 2, 3, or 4, but the first one. He says, not everybody is ready to be free, is ready to be unplugged. Right? Some people are going to stay unplugged and they will defend Facebook and they will defend the places where they are and they will defend those places because that's where they want to be. Right? So not everybody's gonna get unplugged from that. But some people will join you in having these conversations. And I think that's going to grow over time. And is Facebook always going to do something that will keep people there? Yeah. Right. And are most people going to stay there? Yes. But I sincerely believe, and if you look at school, there's evidence that people are starting communities in the hundreds and thousands of people, and they are monetizing those communities because people want to have real conversation and they want to have real relationships. And so that's part of what you're doing in an online community. And so some of this you're gonna operate from your own intuition. Some of this you need to operate from understanding how you connect with people in the real world. So there's not going to be a book. I know Laurel is doing research on online church communities, and there are no books on it. And the reason there are no books on it because nobody really quite knows exactly how to bring that same connection that people have in their churches to an online community. It's being defined. And so a lot of this of what you're doing in your market or your niche, you're going to be defining this. But there is evidence, right? Just go to the school.com, SKOOL.com homepage, and you'll see that there's evidence that people are willing to go to community, right? Okay, let me see if there are any questions. We've got about 4 minutes left. See if we've got any questions. Okay, I don't see any. Okay, and lastly, every community is different. So don't try to make your community look like anybody else's. It's not going to look like that. And you don't have to try to make yours look like anybody else's. And I know that, and especially now, because don't think that everybody else has got the answer and you don't. Start with what you think. And if you start with what you think a community should be online, it's going to be hard to replicate because most of the people that decide they want to start communities, they're going to follow a pattern. They're going to follow, you know, what Alex Hermosi says, or they're going to follow some pattern. They're going to follow some guru, and they're going to follow all the principles. And none of that really works, right? You've got to start with what you think, right? What do you think? What do you want in community? What do you want to connect with your people about? And so bring them into your space. Well, the only thing I'm going to say to you is that um, don't when you invite people to your house, right, to your community, you were the host. So yes, you do need to be in charge. You need to you need to be, as I said, you're the gatekeeper. You decide what is and what isn't. So yes, you don't want to be, I think the word is egalitarian about everything. Well, it's just me and everybody else. We're all equal here. That's not the way you want to do that. Because if you're not willing to boot somebody out of there who's misbehaving, then everybody else is going to think, well, man, this is just a free for all. And this I don't want to be. There's no order to this. Everybody's yelling at each other, so you don't want to do that, right? If it's just going to be like Facebook, then there's no reason for people to leave Facebook to come to your community. So yes, start by building your own community, invite people in, but be willing to be in charge. Be willing to be a gatekeeper and to protect your people. If you've got to bring in experts, when you bring in experts, right, you are still the host. So, you bring somebody in there, you make sure you know what they're going to be talking about. You make sure they're not talking about anything that's going to be contrary, right, to things that you've said. If not, no affiliate commission is going to be worth you bringing in an expert if they're telling people something totally contrary, and then they're also just going to invite them over to their platform, right? That's not what you're about, right? So you don't have to bring in an expert for that. Um, Provide resources, right? So again, you're a PLR user. You should have tons of resources. You make those resources available to those people. Now, I frankly, they need to pay you, right? If you're gonna make resources available, and they're gonna be available to them on demand. It's a misnomer to think that if you give it all away, they'll stick around. They're not, right? They will go someplace to get 1/10 of what you're giving away, right? So the old model when we first started internet marketing was, I was gonna get 10,000 PLR products, gonna put them all in one place and give everybody access to everything, and I'm gonna charge them $1, right? If I get all these people, because everybody's gonna want to pay $1, right? So if I just get everybody to pay $1, I'll have 1 million people to pay $1. That in practice it doesn't work. Somebody will go and pay 10 times as much for 1/10 of what you're giving away, right? If they sense they're getting more value. So again, create it in a way, organize in a way so that it is valuable, right? Add in the elements, develop your USP of your learning center and your community and your thing, and to bring people in that way. Okay, so um yeah, so Jim's saying um Facebook is beckoning members of your Facebook groups to get distracted with ads related to your group topic. Exactly. It's one of the ways that they encourage you, right, to do ads. Just go and I mean it is absolutely mind-boggling that you got this group, this page of people you put together, and so somebody comes and kind of looks at uh, how they can build an audience based on yours, right, and compete directly. It's insane when you think about it. Now again, I think that it was an evolution because people were coming away from forums and they felt like Facebook was this great place because everybody was there. But I think now, I wouldn't say that people are totally over Facebook, but they're getting over it, right? And I don't know. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, not just Jim, but correct me if I'm wrong. I have to speak for myself. I have not been in a group where I've really learned something, right? Consistently. I haven't. Now maybe you have, but but it is difficult to sustain learning in a Facebook group. It just is because it is designed for everybody to express. Now, the ideal, right? Here's the ideal. What's supposed to happen ideally in a group is that people are sharing their experiences. But that's not what a social media platform really even puts inside of your brain. Right? When you're in a social media platform, you're there to share your opinion, not what you're learning. And so I'm not, and please don't think I'm anti Facebook. I mean, I don't like it, but I'm not saying that you should not start a Facebook group. Encouraging you to monetize, right? To monetize start by inviting, even if it's one or two people, trickling in, where you are in charge of the community, and you are in charge and you are directing people and gatekeeping for them, so that they can be, what they're actually trying to, what they're actually trying to become. Yeah, no, exactly, Jim. No, that's exactly. I mean, that's kind of the way things were when we first got started. I think though now that um, people are a little more aware of what they want. Okay, it's 7:34. I think I've gone for 30 minutes. I don't, unless I'm missing them, I don't see any questions. Yeah, and that is another thing, right? Is Jim mentioned that there's a problem with the algorithm, and sometimes questions and answers get swept away, and you can only see some of the ones that it wants you to see because um, its algorithm wants to keep you on there. And so again, Facebook is trying to monetize, right? So they're doing everything they can in order to monetize. And where your monetization efforts crisscross theirs, they're happy. Where they don't, right? And so I think now is the time. Again, even if it's small to start. I mean, you may not have star power and you may not have the social proof yet to attract everybody to your group. That doesn't mean anything. You start inviting people now to a group where you are going to be in charge and you are going to lead them to life change. Right? That's your goal in information marketing, regardless of what you are doing. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out with me here. I hope that this has been helpful for you. Have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.